Imagine standing before the formidable walls of Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire, under the shadow of an impending siege. As we cast our minds back to the glory days of the Byzantine Empire, we find ourselves in the grand city of Constantinople, a jewel of the ancient world. This city wasn't merely a hub of culture, it was a melting pot of Greek, Roman and Eastern influences, adorned with architectural wonders like the Grand Hagia Sophia. A beacon of knowledge and culture, it was here that scholars gathered, preserving ancient texts and fostering intellectual growth. But Constantinople was more than just a cultural epicenter. Its strategic location on a peninsula, where the Golden Horn meets the Bosporus, made it an enticing target and a coveted prize for many. Yet for centuries it remained unassailable, a testament to Byzantine military prowess and ingenuity. The secret to its invulnerability lay in its formidable defenses, the walls of Constantinople. These weren't any ordinary walls, they were a marvel of military architecture, a triple line of defense that stood tall against countless sieges. The outer wall, the moat, and the inner wall formed a formidable barrier that deterred even the most daring of invaders. The innermost wall, known as the Theodosian Wall, was a towering structure, reaching up to 50 feet in height. It was fortified with 96 towers, each providing a vantage point for archers and catapults. The moat, an equally impressive feat of engineering, was designed to halt advancing troops, making any assault a perilous endeavor. These walls were not just physical barriers, they were a symbol of the empire's resilience and strength. They echoed the ethos of the Byzantine Empire, a civilization that was as culturally rich as it was militarily powerful. Yet, in the face of all this grandeur and seeming invincibility, the sands of time were shifting. The winds of change were blowing, carrying with them the ominous rumble of an impending siege. The walls of Constantinople, which had stood unbroken for centuries, were about to face a test like no other. At dawn on April 6, 1453, the 21-year-old Sultan Mehmed II launched a siege that would change the course of history. A young ambitious leader, Mehmed II had one goal in mind: to conquer the unconquerable, to breach the impregnable walls of Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire. Mehmed II's strategy was unlike any seen before. He didn't rely solely on the brute strength of his formidable army. Instead, he turned to technology, to an innovation that would shatter not just the walls of Constantinople, but the very paradigm of warfare in the Middle Ages, the cannon. The cannons of the 15th century were monstrous machines capable of hurling stone balls weighing several hundred pounds over considerable distances. It was a technological marvel of the time, the likes of which the Byzantines had never faced. Mehmed II made these cannons the cornerstone of his siege strategy. He had them cast on sight, some reaching an astonishing 27 feet in length. With these behemoths, he relentlessly bombarded the city's walls day and night for weeks on end. The relentless pounding echoed across the city, a constant reminder of the impending danger. The cannons, however, were merely one piece of the puzzle. Mehmed II employed a multifaceted approach to the siege. His navy blockaded the city from the sea, cutting off any possibility of reinforcement or supply. On land, his troops kept up a relentless assault, probing the city's defenses, looking for any sign of weakness. The Sultan's tactics were ruthless and relentless. He understood that he was not just fighting a physical battle but a psychological one as well. His aim was to wear down the city's defenders, to break their spirit even before he broke their walls. Yet, despite the onslaught, the city held firm. The defenders, led by Emperor Constantine II, pushed back against the invaders, refusing to give in. The walls of Constantinople, which had stood for centuries, continued to resist the Ottoman onslaught. The siege had begun, and the fate of Constantinople hung in the balance. The grand stage was set for a battle that would echo through the ages, a clash between two worlds, two ideologies, and two ways of life. The end, however, was far from certain. The walls of Constantinople, battered but not broken, stood defiant, a symbol of the city's unyielding spirit. As the Ottoman forces advanced, Emperor Constantine II rallied his troops for a heroic defense. The Byzantine Emperor, the last of a line that had ruled for over 1,000 years, was not going down without a fight. He rallied his men, a motley crew of professional soldiers, citizen militiamen, and foreign mercenaries, instilling in them a spirit of defiance and courage. Constantine I's strategy was a desperate one, born out of necessity. The Byzantine forces were vastly outnumbered. The city's walls were crumbling under the relentless bombardment, and the enemy was at the gates. Yet, Constantine II and his men stood firm, ready to defend their city to the last man. The emperor himself, clad in the armor of a common soldier, led the defense. His presence on the city walls, fighting alongside his men, was a beacon of hope for the beleaguered defenders. It was a testament to their bravery that they continued to hold the line, repelling wave after wave of Ottoman assaults. The clashes between the defenders and the invading forces were fierce and brutal. The narrow streets of Constantinople turned into a battleground, with each side fighting for every inch of ground. The defenders, despite their dwindling numbers and exhaustion, fought with a ferocity that surprised their enemies. Yet, even as they fought bravely, the situation was dire for the defenders. Supplies were running low, morale was dwindling, and the enemy was relentless. The defenders knew they were fighting a losing battle, but they were determined to sell their lives dearly. Through it all, Constantine II remained resolute. He rallied his men, urging them to fight on, promising them glory in death if they could not find it in life. He himself was the embodiment of this spirit, refusing to abandon his post even when all hope seemed lost. Despite their courage, the defenders could not turn the tide. The city was falling, and with it, an era was coming to an end. Yet the memory of their heroic defense would live on, a testament to their bravery and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. On May 29, 1453, after 53 days of relentless siege, the unthinkable happened. Constantinople fell. This was the day when the world stood still, as the city that had withstood countless sieges and served as a beacon of the old world succumbed to the forces of Mehmed II. As the sun rose, the final assault began. Mehmed's forces, fueled by the promise of victory, launched a brutal attack. They swarmed the formidable walls like a tide, an unstoppable force driven by innovation, determination, and the raw power of cannon fire. The Byzantine defenders, weary and outnumbered, fought valiantly. Yet despite their bravery, the walls that had stood unbreachable for centuries finally gave way. The city's fall wasn't just a military defeat, it was a profound shock to the Byzantine Empire and the wider world. Constantinople, the shining jewel of the Byzantine Empire, was a symbol of cultural and military might. Its fall signified the end of an era, a shift in power that would forever change the course of history. The impact on the city's defenders was profound. These brave souls who had defended their city with such tenacity and courage were faced with an unimaginable reality. Their beloved city, the heart of their empire, was no longer their own. Their emperor, Constantine II, who had led them in their heroic defense, was lost in the final battle. His fate, a mystery that added to the tragedy of the city's fall. The streets of Constantinople, once bustling with life, echoed with the sounds of battle and the cries of its inhabitants. Churches, palaces, and homes were looted, and the city's grandeur was lost to the chaos of war. The city, which had stood as a beacon of the Byzantine Empire's glory, was reduced to a shadow of its former self. With the fall of its capital, the Byzantine Empire came to a tragic end. An empire that had endured for over 1,000 years was no more. The city that had been the heart of the Byzantine Empire, a city of immense cultural and strategic significance, was now in the hands of a new power. The fall of Constantinople marked a monumental shift in the world order, a pivotal moment that signaled the end of the medieval era and the dawn of a new age. The fall of Constantinople marked more than the end of an empire. It marked the end of the medieval era. In the wake of the city's fall, a profound shift swept across the continents, altering the cultural and historical landscape of the world. This pivotal moment in history was not merely the closing of a chapter, but the turning of a page, heralding the onset of the Renaissance. As the dust settled, the once glorious Byzantine Empire was no more. Its libraries filled with ancient knowledge were either destroyed or pillaged, and its citizens were either enslaved or fled. But instead of an end, this marked a new beginning. The fall of Constantinople led to an exodus of Greek scholars to the west, carrying with them ancient wisdom and texts that had been preserved in the Byzantine libraries. This influx of knowledge ignited a spark that eventually lit the path to the Renaissance. This period of cultural rebirth was characterized by a renewed interest in the classical knowledge of Greece and Rome. It was an age of exploration, of artistic expression, and of scientific discovery. The fall of Constantinople, therefore, was not a demise but a catalyst. It was a catalyst for change, for progress, and for a new understanding of the world. However, the fall of Constantinople did not only influence the West, the East too felt the tremors of this monumental event. Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, transformed the city into the new capital of the Ottoman Empire, renaming it Istanbul. The city became a vibrant melting pot of cultures where East met West and Islam encountered Christianity. This cultural synthesis breathed life into a new era of art, architecture, and scholarship. From the ashes of Constantinople, a new world was born. A world that would forever bear the marks of this monumental event. The fall of Constantinople was not the end, but the beginning of a new epoch in human history. An epoch that would shape the world as we know it today.